and Stuart Hamlin is a teacher here, and in her real life, in her other life, she's a mom and a lawyer, and she just brings so much wonderful energy to our center. I'm always grateful for her presence and her sacred service. Please welcome Diane Stuart Hamlin.
Good morning. Good morning. So we get these topics right from home office, and we think about them, and sometimes they're integrated into what unfolds in the service, and sometimes they're not. And so I made a concerted effort today to really, or this week, to really focus on the topic and the theme of the month. And so the topic was accountability. And I sat with that for a little while, and then what I realized is really, because I always look up the word to make sure the definition is saying what I think it means, and that I'm not just, superimposing my own idea of what accountability should look like, or whatever the word is, onto what the actual definition is. So I looked it up, and I sat with it for a little while, and then it really just came out for me that accountability and spiritual accountability is really about faith in action. It's really about standing in your truth and honoring the truth of who you really are. And so it's been a very interesting time for me in my life, just journeying through the idea of what is my own truth? What is it that I believe? And am I being spiritually accountable to my belief? And it's funny because Joanne sat next to me, and we kind of laughed a little bit and giggled a little bit about she's just going to open the book and get to this place and read whatever reading comes up. And so she reads the reading, and it's talking about belief and believing. And some of the work that I did this week in my own spiritual practices involves this very reading, where it says, and this is a reading from Michael Bernard Beckwith's Stage 2 Consciousness. Belief is not the same as what you believe. Belief is not the same as what you believe. You can have a belief about something, but you can live believing in the opposite. An excellent example of this principle is truth is God is omnipresent. That is everywhere present. That is a belief that you ascribe to, but you also find yourself believing in duality. Believing that you are separate from the presence of God when facing certain situations. You may believe God is not present in the face of challenges. The way you live your life and practice your spiritual principles will allow you to shine the light of awareness on what you really believe. And now when you look at that in terms of spirituality, and I know you've heard me talk about this before, is that your life really is always in congruence with your belief. It doesn't matter what you say that you believe in. What is really important is how you live in your belief, how you walk in the truth of that faith. So you can believe that God is everywhere present, and then your actions can show something completely different. When you start to believe that God is not present in a certain way of life, or God is not present with people who are doing things that you don't necessarily agree with. When you start to believe that in the struggle and the pain, God is not there. When you start to think that you are your source, and you are the reason why your bills are paid, and you are all that there is, you start to believe that God isn't actually present in your life. So your life is always in congruence with what you believe. Your demonstration is what you believe. It's not the thing that you walk around spouting out of your mouth, but it is the actual action of your faith, the actual steps that you take in the way that you show up for others, in the way that you show up in service, in the way that you show up every day in your life. That is really the demonstration of what it is that you actually believe. And what you believe is your action steps. When we talk about our faith and we talk about our relationship with God and we talk about oneness and we talk about being close to the divine, we have to demonstrate that. That's where the accountability comes in. What is your accountability? Who are you really in your daily life? How are you really showing up? Who are you really when no one's looking? Are you really praying, or are you just saying I pray? Are you really in meditation and taking time to sit with the divine? Or are you just saying, yeah, I meditate, and in my practice we do these things? Or are you really taking the time to take care of your spiritual condition? Are you really taking the time to be healthy? and taking care of the body, because that's part of being accountable for your spiritual well-being, because it's not separate. Self-care is a part of spirituality. It is the way that you show up in your life. Being of service to others is spirituality. They're not separate. They're not things that you can do separately. Recently, I came into the awareness that when I am not in alignment with my truth, I begin to have like these blurry areas in my life, and I begin to play in a different vibration that doesn't serve my soul. Because I'm out here being in the blurry gray areas. And so sometimes what I've had to do, one of my favorite words, disengage. Just stop it. You find yourself in a chaotic situation, you find yourself in a situation or circumstance that does not serve your soul. You know that the situation that you're in is not good because you've done your spiritual work, and you can feel the disease in your body. You can feel inside, like when you're not like breathing properly and you're not relaxed within your own system and your own being, because you're off out in those gray areas. And so one of the words that I've developed as one of my triggers to get me back to center is disengage. Just stop it. Stop talking. Stop arguing. Stop engaging in the chaos. Just stop. Pull yourself out of it and catch your breath. Because you have to come back to center. You have to realign your life. If you say you have a spiritual way of being in the world, if you say that's what you're choosing for your life on a daily basis, you have to engage in that practice step by step by step. And it's not perfection. It's not an opportunity to stand and say, oh, look at me. I walk in the light of God and I'm perfect. I Om Shanti every day, and I pray and meditate and I bless others and I do all these things. It's an opportunity to continue to grow and unfold and see your humanness, because you're a spiritual being, and people say this, we say it all the time. You're a spiritual being having a human experience. And in your humanness, there are times when you make mistakes. There are times when you stumble. There are times when you have situations that are difficult and challenging, and you feel that you may be separate from. You might feel that or have that thought in just that moment. It's not an opportunity to beat yourself up and say, oh, look at me, I'm being dual. Oh, look at me, I'm not trusting in God. It's an opportunity for you to stop and say, oh, wait, God is here. God is in all things. God is ever present in and as my life. God is the very breath that I breathe, and it is the activity of my breathing. God is in every fiber of my beingness. And when I align myself with that awareness, I can bring myself back to center. I can come right back. The Bible says, because I was doing research this week, the Bible says, James chapter 1, verse 19, my dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. I want to segue to that because I want to talk about a non-judgmental attitude that is an essential element of how we have to show up in the world when we're being accountable to ourselves spiritually and to each other. We really have to come from a place of engaging with each other and listening. It's not always important to say your part. Sometimes it's really just important to hear where the other person is coming from, to listen to what's being said, to listen to the expression of their soul, their creative self, that they are saying to you, these are the things that are happening in my life, or this is the thing that I need. And to listen to them. You don't always have to respond right away. You don't even have to react. You can just sometimes take in what's being said and take time to process what you have heard. In terms of us being together in community and us being accountable to each other, one of the things that we have to be accountable to each other is be accountable to love and support. Be accountable to support each other, to be present with each other, to walk through this thing. Because what I am going through and where I am growing from may not be where Carmen is growing from. It may not be what she's going through. But it doesn't mean that she cannot support me if I am willing to be supported. So one of our challenges in community is to be open and transparent with each other. It's to be really vulnerable and say, this is my heart's desire. This is the thing that I really want to have happen. And then the person on the other end to really hear and receive that vulnerability. Support it, love it. Wrap yourself around it. Don't tear it down. just be with it. You know, and so we have to practice accountability on a community level as well. Being spiritual, taking care of each other. When you are in that place, you are able to create a world that works really for everyone. We are really able to do that. When we are able to stand and be accountable to each other. When we are able to stand up and say, I am showing up for my community. Because on a communal level, and Alex was talking about, you know, the financial aspect of being accountable. We are accountable to this community to support it. Because this is where we come to get spiritually fed. This is where we come to share our gifts and talents. So we are accountable on a financial level, we're accountable on an emotional level, we're accountable in a physical way to show up on a regular basis and support. And so, you know, it's not just, one of the things that I had to really come in clear with is accountability and spiritual accountability and being spiritual is not just about knowing the dogma of whatever religion or faith you're in. It's not just about being a Bible thumper or any kind of other literature. You know, we can thump Ernest Holmes' book all we want and go to the quotes and say them all we want, but if you're not showing up in a genuine, authentic way, if you're not showing up every day in love, in pure love for each other, then you're not being spiritual. You're showing up in less than your highest self, less than your highest vibration. Show up for each other. That's what we're here for. And I do absolutely agree that we are accountable and responsible for what is happening with others on the other side of the world. We're accountable for what's happening with our brothers and sisters down on the mall today. We are accountable to each other for our lives, and we are required to show up in that level of accountability, not just lip service, not just saying, you know, I am here to support you, see you next Sunday, but really showing up and answering the phone and responding to the Facebook messages and showing up and responding to the text message or the call, showing up for each other. That is where the accountability comes in. It's how we live outside of this 1 hour block. Because this 1 hour block is just about pouring in, but for the rest of the week we get to go out and pour out and to give and receive and be a part of growth. The other item that I wanted to talk about today when it comes to accountability is this idea that we have to be what someone else wants us to be. This idea that showing up has to look a particular way. One of the things that we are required to remember, we all talk about it in every faith, that we are created, every faith, every religion, everywhere believes that we are created by a power greater than ourselves. That we are created in the very image and likeness of that which created us. So if that is the truth, then we better start acting like it, right? And showing up in our greatness. Showing up with our highest selves. Not just being everyday run-of-the-mill, same old, but really tapping into our greatest yet to be. Really tapping into what is going on in my soul. What am I here to do? What did I come to this planet to give? Did I just come to be here and go to work and go home and pay my bills and plan for my retirement? Or have I come to make this world a better place? Because each single person in this room is absolutely necessary for the evolution of mankind. We are necessary for the transformation of this planet. And when you just go to work and pay your bills and that's all you do, you are not tapping into the talent that you were given. You are not being a part of creating beauty and love and peace and harmony and ending hunger and creating a tolerant space for people to live in. You are just hanging out. And you're wasting good oxygen because you're not giving your true gift and talent. What you do at work is not necessarily your true gift and talent. Are you loving someone? Are you reaching out? Are you picking up the phone and checking on someone you haven't spoken to in a long time? Are you stepping up and making sure that someone you know is sad or going through depression or going through something that you call them and let them know you're there? Are you showing up for your community, for your loved ones, for people who need you? Are you showing up? Or are you just sitting there? Are you developing your talent? Are you taking time to go within and find out what is the divine imprint? What is the imprint on my soul? What am I being called to do? What have I come into the world to do? Are you taking time to connect with that? Am I here to create beauty? Am I here to create love? Am I here to create music? Am I here to create joy? Am I singing my song? Am I dancing my dance? Am I doing the thing in the rest of my life? Not just in my job space, but am I doing the thing that I came to do? It has been a journey of unfoldment for each one of us. We're all at the place where we are supposed to be in our lives. There is no miracle that you're here. You are here on purpose with a purpose, and it's time for you to get into your purpose. If you're in it already, it's time for you to step it up to the next level. Step it up to the next notch. Create that beautiful play. Write that story. Tell that story. Tell that story. Develop your talent. Answer the call. If you're calling to lead, get off your butt and start leading. Don't be afraid. If you're being called to dance, get up and dance. Don't be afraid, because there's only this one time that you get to be you. There is no other time. There isn't a do-over that you're going to get. You're not going to get a next time to be Lee. You're going to be Lee right now, in this moment, and it's time to be Lee. You're not going to get a next Alex go around. You're Alex right now. So you give it all you've got, and you step into your life, and you step into your own magnificence, and you really start to develop your talent, whatever that thing that's been calling you. If it's to paint the painting, go buy the paint. Go buy the paint. Get the canvas, get the brushes, and start the painting. Whatever it is, if it's to till the garden, if it's to create beauty in the world, get up and start doing it. Because the time right now is what we have. There is no actual tomorrow. We are clear on this, right? There is no actual tomorrow. Because when the clock moves and the time moves and the sun goes down and gets back up, guess where we will be?
Today.
We were not going to be anywhere else but today. That's going to always be it. There is no, I'm going to save some air for tomorrow. I'm going to breathe 10 breaths today and breathe 10 tomorrow. There's none of that. All you have is right now. And there's actually no yesterday. And a lot of people spend so much time living their lives from their previous experiences that they can't actually be in there right now. They can't actually be accountable to the right now experience of their lives, because they're trapped in the fear, or they're trapped in the anxiety about what's going to happen tomorrow, which never comes, because tomorrow is right now. It's only right now. It's never going to be tomorrow. And so you can spend a lot of time in fear, and you can spend a lot of time rehearsing what could happen, or you can focus on your right now and start living that spiritual life that you so truly desire. Start taking that time to be in prayer and meditation. Start taking that time to tap into your soul and really show up for you and show up for the thing that you have come to do. Stop dancing with it. And if you keep starting and stopping, all right, let's stop stopping. Let's get up and start and keep it going. Give yourself an opportunity to complete, to grow, to be your greatest, highest self, to show up for each other, to be accountable to your community, to your loved ones, to your partners, to your church, to your center, and most importantly, to yourself. Because when you really stop and think about who you are and why you are here, what you have been created to do, the greatness of who you are, when you really stop and think about the amazing being that you are. What an incredible creation. You are completely self-contained. It's like a well-oiled running machine that everything runs in order and perfection. It's so amazing that the heart is beating, the blood is flowing through your body, the lungs are taking in the air and doing what it needs to do, sending the oxygen to the right places. And at no point are you involved in that process. At no point do you stop and say, okay, I'm going to take a breath now. I'm going to send this much oxygen over to my legs. I'm going to send this much oxygen over to my fingers. I'm going to send some oxygen to my brain. And I'm going to function for the next 5 minutes. You don't do that. Which means that you're amazing, because your body is doing all this amazing stuff on its own. All you have to do now is go in and start doing your amazing stuff in your life. Because you're present. You're here. You're alive. You're a perfect expression of God itself. There's no aspect of your beingness that exists outside of that. So tap into your soul. Become accountable to yourself. Take the time to really align with the truth of who you are and what you have come to do. And then take the steps to unfold it in your life, to demonstrate it. It's not enough to sit and wait on the Lord. It's not enough to sit and wait and think the Lord is going to come and fix this. You have been given your own will, which is so very different from all of the other living things on the planet. You have the ability to make choice, to tap into the consciousness of the divine and make a decision to live your life right now, full on, full out, in your highest and best expression of who and what you are. In this moment, that is your opportunity. So I'm inviting you this week, and here's my week challenge. I'm inviting you to take a moment every day, even if it's just that time when you swing your feet and put them on the ground, and to really ask the divine, guide me, show me, what is it that you would have me do in my life? And then give me the courage to do it. Because faith is the expression of your courage, not just your belief. It is the courageous expression of courage to live the life that you are here to live. So I invite you this week to come out from among them. Come out from the normal way of being and business as usual. Come out from that place of just showing up in the same way that you've always shown up. And go within and ask, please reveal unto me what is mine to do. What is God's highest idea of my life right now? Where is the highest idea of my life right now? And ask those questions. What is Spirit's highest idea of my life right now? What are the things that I need to do to be in